Good morning. Welcome to Cluster 1 Health. My name is Kay Duggan-Walls from the Health Research Board, and I am the National Contact Point for Health. Cluster 1 Health aims to advance knowledge, build capacities, as well as design, develop and demonstrate innovative solutions that will improve the health and well-being of people and support the transformation of healthcare systems. The Health Work Programme has 6 different areas or destinations. I'm now going to give an overview of the first 3 destinations. Destination 1, staying healthy in a rapidly changing society. Research will focus on health promotion, healthy lifestyles and behaviours, and healthier diets. This is about empowering individuals to manage their own physical and mental health. There will also be an emphasis on improving health literacy through digital empowerment, personalised prevention, and maintaining a healthy, independent, and active life. Research will also improve evidence-based health policies in this area, and there are opportunities for social science and humanities researchers. Destination 2, living and working in a health-promoting environment. Research will provide a better understanding of environmental, occupational, and socio-economic risk factors on our health. The health threats that arise from hazardous chemicals, air both indoor and outdoor, water and soil pollution, and the impacts of climate change. This will lead to more informed health policies and intervention strategies that improve health outcomes. Destination 3, tackling diseases and reducing disease burden. The focus in this destination is on disease management through the integration of innovative, diagnostic and therapeutic approaches, personalized medicine and digital solutions, development of vaccines and alternatives to antibiotics, as well as treatment of rare diseases. The objective of the research in this area is to be better prepared to respond rapidly to health threats, emergencies, and to reduce the disease burden. I now hand over to Martha to cover the next 3 destinations.
This leads us to destination number 4, which is about ensuring access to innovative and sustainable high-quality healthcare. This destination will focus on the modernisation of the healthcare systems in Europe. There will be an emphasis on the quality of healthcare, the planning and decision-making processes. This will be supported by the development and uptake of new innovative healthcare services and solutions. Destination number 5 is about unlocking the full potential of new tools, technologies, digital solutions for a healthy society. These new solutions will focus on disease prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and monitoring. In addition to this, there will be a focus on the next generation advanced therapies, the use of healthcare data, and innovative analytical tools. The use of artificial intelligence will support better decision-making and better healthcare outcomes. Destination number 6 is about maintaining an innovative, sustainable, and globally competitive health-related industry. The focus will be on breakthrough technologies and innovation. There will be an emphasis on the management and security of connected devices and electronic health records. This will set the foundation for enhanced mobile health standards and digitalization. You can keep up to date on the opportunities for health funding by registering for our health newsletter on our national website, horizoneurope.ie. We look forward to working with you. Now over to Dr. Deirdre Quinn for Cluster 2.
Welcome to a brief overview of Cluster 2, Culture, Creativity and Inclusive Society. I'm Deirdre Quinn and I'm based at the Irish Research Council. The Council also hosts the NCP for the ERC for the Social Sciences and Humanities and the Contact Point for Societal Challenge 6 under H2020. It also supports the Marie Curie office at the Irish Universities Association. As such, it's a suitable home for the Cluster 2 contact point. Culture, Creativity and Inclusive Society focuses on research questions that can be addressed by the social sciences and humanities in conjunction with other disciplines. Cluster 2, Culture, Creativity and Inclusive Society, sits under Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe, and like many other clusters, it aims to address the challenges we face in our lived communities across Europe and globally. The goals and priorities of the culture of the cluster are to improve democratic governance and citizens' participation, to safeguard and to promote cultural heritage, and to support social, economic, technological, and cultural transformation. These goals and priorities will be achieved by mobilising multidisciplinary expertise across Europe and beyond in a way that will ensure global impact, will provide evidence-based policy options for our governments and society. And Cluster 2 also aims to address the green and digital recovery. And while projects are underway, they should seek to address the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs as they're more broadly known. The cluster is structured by 3 destinations. So the impact of each call or each competition works backwards so that it reaches a final destination. The destinations are Destination 1, Innovative Research on Democracy and Governance. Destination 2, Innovative Research on the European Cultural Heritage and the Cultural Creative Industries. Destination 3, Innovative Research on Social and Economic Transformations. So when we look at Destination 1, projects under this destination should propose to ensure that democratic governance is reinvigorated by improving the accountability, transparency, effectiveness, and trustworthiness of rule of law-based institutions and policies, and through the expansion of active and inclusive citizenship empowered by the safeguarding of fundamental rights. The first of the calls opens on the 15th of April, and the deadline is the 1st of September 2021. The first strand of this call is made up of 5 sub-calls. Each of these is a research and innovation action, amounting to about 10 million each. There should be 3 projects funded under each of these 5 strands. The first of these is the future of liberal democracy in Europe. The second is the economic models and modern democracies. The third addresses feminism for a new age of democracy. The fourth, democratic politics in the EU's neighbourhood. And the fifth, politics and governance in a post-pandemic world. Each of these focuses on different aspects of engagement across our society. The second of these strands begins in January 2020 and closes in April 2022. This second strand focuses on reshaping democracies, and there are 8 calls under this second strand. Each of them is a research innovation action, with budgets of each budget is about 9 million, and there should be 3 projects funded under each strand. The first of these focuses on artificial intelligence, big data and democracy, the future of democracy and civic participation, the impact of inequalities on democracy, education for democracy, the evolution of political extremism and its influence on contemporary social and political dialogue, media for democracy and democratic media, politics and the impact of online social networks and new media, representative democracy in flux, global governance for a world in transition, and a world in transition. For each of these strands or these competitions under this strand, Toolkits, methodologies, design, and policy in evidence-based policy are extremely important. That wraps up Destination 1. Destination 2, which is innovative research on the European cultural heritage and the cultural and creative industries, focuses on the use of digital and cutting-edge technologies, on sustainable engagement with stakeholders, social innovators and citizens, the active involvement of local, regional or national authorities, as well as sectoral social partners in ensuring the uptake and implementation of research results and recommendations. Projects should have a clear strategy for the uptake of research outcomes, recommendations and results, in particular which CCIs are participating or are concerned. Furthermore, training and education activities for targeted groups of users and stakeholders is extremely important under this strand. And projects should show a robust plan for how outputs will be taken up by sectors. It encourages increased participations of CCIs, SMEs, and industries. It seeks for contribution to the Green Deal as well as Sustainable Development Goals, and seeks projects to look at how we can learn from the COVID-19 crisis. There are 3 strands within Destination 2, opening on with the deadlines of the 1st of September 2021, the 15th of June 2021, and the 20th of April 2022. The first set of calls, which open on the 15th of April in 2021 and close in September 2022, address research and innovation on cultural heritage and CCIs. These calls have a budget ranging from 9 to 12 million, and there are 3 projects expected to be funded under each strand, with 4 strands in all. And the first of these is green technologies and materials for cultural heritage. The second is new ways of participation, management and sustainable financing of museums and other cultural institutions, cultural and creative industries as a driver of innovative and competitiveness. And finally, preserving and enhancing cultural heritage with advanced digital technologies. Each of these strands seeks to enhance the use of digital tools, improve competitiveness, and encourage the use of artificial intelligence in building comparative analysis and building in that competitiveness as well. The second set of calls, there are 3, 2 of them are which open in 2021, are both coordinator actions, so I won't talk about those too much. They close in June 2021. The first of them is aimed at mobilising the network of national contact points in Cluster 2. So this would be to replace Net for Society, really, to have a similar network in place. And the second coordinating action is for the coordination of European cultural heritage research and innovation amongst member states. The next set of calls then addresses research and innovation and cultural heritage and CCIs. There are a total of 10 competitions under this call, with budgets ranging from 5.8 to 9 and 12 million. Also, the number of projects to be funded ranges from 1 to 3, depending on each strand. The first of the calls looks at safeguarding endangered languages in Europe, Europe's cultural heritage and arts, promoting our values at home and abroad, the role of perceptions formed by traditions, values and beliefs in shaping European societies and politics in the 21st century, traditional crafts for the future, a new approach towards competitive, fair and sustainable European music ecosystem, and increasing the potential of international competitiveness of the European filmmaking industry, protection of artefacts and cultural goods from anthropogenic threats, the effects of climate change and natural hazards on cultural heritage and remediation, games and culture shaping our society, and finally, most recently, added call to this was focuses on the European Bauhaus. That wraps up Destination 2. Destination 3 then focuses on projects that should look at the social and economic resilience and sustainability on how we can better strengthen our understanding of social, ethical, political and economic impacts of drivers of change. Technology, globalization, demographics, mobility and migration are all included amongst these perceived drivers of change. And projects should look at how the different elements interplay with each other. And there are two sets of calls under Destination 2, with the deadlines of the 1st of September 2021 for the first set of calls and the 1st of September 2022 for the second set of calls. The first set of calls opens in 2021. And these are the competitions address inclusiveness in times of change. The first of these calls, and there are 7 in all, opening on the 15th of April, closing on the 1st of September 2021, is a coordinating action with a budget of 3 million, and there's 1 project expected to be funded out of that. All of the other 6 are research and innovation actions with budgets ranging from 9 to 10 million, and with either 2 or 3 projects to be funded out of each strand. The coordinating call seeks for projects that estimates of irregular migrants in Europe, and it's looking to establish a stakeholder network. The other 6, then, the RIA calls seek to, number 2, providing support in a changing world of work and social protection. The third one, determining key drivers, inequality trends. The fourth, addressing poor learning outcomes and basic skills in early school leaving at national, regional and school and local level in Europe. And the fifth is integration of emerging and new technologies into education and training. 6, towards a new normal, employment and social impacts of changing supply chains and declining trade intensities. And finally, the upgrading independent knowledge in contemporary China, in Europe. And the final set then of calls under Destination 3 looks for projects that will help to address a sustainable future for Europe. Again, there are 10 projects, 10 calls under this set of calls. The competitions will open on the 20th of January 2022 and close on the 20th of April 2022. They are all research innovation actions with budgets of 9 million each. And there will be between 1 and 3 projects funded across each of the final set of calls for Destination 3. Across Destination 3, the focus is on policy and toolkits and evidence-based research. So that wraps up Cluster 2. I would like to hand over now to Michael Murphy, my colleague Michael Murphy, who will speak about Destination 3. Thank you.
Welcome to Cluster 3, Civil Security for Society. The overarching aim of the Civil Security for Society Research and Innovation Programme is to support the implementation of EU policy priorities relating to security, including cybersecurity and disaster risk management and resilience. The programme is a direct follow-on from H2020 Secure Societies and FP7 Security. It's not only about technology, it emphasises social science and humanities aspects too. The draft Civil Security for Society Work Programme 2021 to 2022 that contains details of the topics the EC will fund is now available online. The link is in the last slide. Note that you must use the official published work programme when it becomes available. Cluster 3 is divided into 6 destinations. Better protect the EU and its citizens against crime and terrorism, effective management of EU external borders, resilient infrastructure, increased cybersecurity, a disaster resilient society for Europe, and a cross-cutting theme, strengthened security research and innovation. So let's dive into the details. Destination 1 is better protect the EU and its citizens against crime and terrorism. It's divided into 6 sections, FCT 01 to FCT 06, and I've included key phrases, or in some cases full 2021 topic titles with each section. So for the first section, we have modern information analysis for fighting crime and terrorism. And this has 4 topics associated with it. One relates to travel intelligence, the second to lawful interception, including 5G, quantum, and encryption. The third is to do with disinformation and fake news, and might be very interesting for social science and humanities researchers. Also, there's a topic on access to FCT research data. Moving on, we have improved forensics and lawful evidence collection. There's only one topic associated with this. It's to do with biometrics as used by police and forensics laboratories. Then we have enhanced prevention, detection, and deterrence of societal issues related to various forms of crime. And there are topics here related to domestic and sexual violence. Moving on to FCT 04, we have increased security of citizens against terrorism, including in public places. And this is to do with preparedness. Moving on to organized crime is prevented and combated. We have trafficking in 2 topics, trafficking in cultural goods, environmental crime, and trafficking in firearms. Moving on to the last of the FCT areas, we have citizens are protected against cybercrime. And we've got 2 topics there. We have preventing child sexual exploitation and preventing online identity theft. Moving on to effective management of EU external borders, which is divided into 3 sections. We have efficient border surveillance and maritime security, and that is a single topic to do with maritime surveillance, including high altitude platforms. The second section of border management involves secured and facilitated crossing of external borders. And there's 2 topics, increased performance of the European border and Coast Guard and Customs, and another one on travel facilitation across borders. And with the final area under border management, we have better customs and supply chain security, which contains 2 topics, threats and illicit goods and postal courier flows, and detecting concealed objects on or within persons. Moving on to destination 3, resilient infrastructure, which is divided into 2 sections, Infra 01 and Infra 02. Infra 01 is related to the improved preparedness and response for large-scale disruptions of European infrastructures. And there are 2 topics within that, dealing with systematic threats on the one hand, and resilience to pandemics on the other. Finally, we have Infra 02, which relates to resilient and secure smart cities, but there's no topic on that in 2021, so I would just refer you to the work programme if you want to know more about that. Moving on to destination 4, increased cybersecurity, which is divided into 5 sections. The first, secure and resilient digital infrastructures and interconnected systems. And there's a single topic, dynamic business continuity and recovery methodologies based on models and prediction for multi-level cybersecurity. The second section deals with hardware, software, and supply chain security. And there's a single topic again, improved security in open source and open specification hardware for connected devices. The third section deals with cybersecurity and disruptive technologies. And again, there's just one topic for 2021, that is artificial intelligence for cybersecurity reinforcement. Moving on to the 4th cybersecurity section, we have smart and quantifiable security assurance and certification shared across Europe. There again, there's no topic in 2021, so if you want to read more about what's coming down in 2022, I would refer you to the work programme. Moving on to the final cybersecurity section, we have human-centric security, privacy, and ethics. Again, there's a single topic here. It's to do with scalable, privacy-preserving technologies for cross-border federated computation in Europe, including personal data. Moving on to Destination 5, we have a disaster resilient society for security, for Europe, which is divided into 3 sections, DRS 01 to DRS 03. And the first of those is societal resilience, increased risk awareness, and preparedness of citizens. And there's a single topic there, an improved understanding of risk exposure and its public awareness in areas exposed to multi-hazards. Moving on to DRS 02, we have increased disaster risk management and governance. And there's a few topics here. The first relates to risk reduction for extreme climate events, enhanced assessment of disaster risks, coordinating research and innovation efforts on risk management of climate-related disasters, and research programming in standardization related to natural hazards and/or CBRNE sectors. Finally, we have DRS 03, what could be a popular area, strengthened capacities of first and second responders. And there's a single topic here, fast deployed mobile laboratories to enhance situational awareness for pandemics and emerging infectious diseases. Finally, we arrive at the last destination, Destination 6, strengthened security research and innovation, which is a cross-cutting destination. And it's divided into 3 parts. We have stronger pillars of security research and innovation. And the topics here relate to a maturity assessment framework for security technologies, knowledge networks for security R&I, and a national contact point network, which I only mention for completeness because it's only applicable to national contact points. Moving on to SSRI 02, we have increased innovation uptake. And there's a single topic there, demand-led innovation for situation awareness and civil protection. Moving on, we have cross-cutting knowledge and value for common security solutions. And there's a single topic here, but it sure is a mouthful. It's societal impact assessment and impact creation transdisciplinary methods for security research technologies driven by active civil society engagement. You can see from all of these topics, but I guess the question on your minds must be, how can I access this funding? So I would say start off by studying the draft work program and identify the topics where you can contribute. Contact me and we can discuss your options. Might you coordinate, or do you want to be a partner in somebody else's consortium? How to progress in either scenario. Join the Irish Security Research Network to keep abreast of developments. You can do that by emailing me. Consider attending and presenting at the SMIG brokerage event that is scheduled for the 31st of May and the 1st of June, and the details will follow. And finally, a word to early stage young researchers. Can you be successful? Answer is yes. We've had some good successes in the past, so please get in touch. Finally, I would just like to finish with a call to action. You have less than 6 months to the deadline of 8th of September. Across Europe, the experienced researchers are already shaping their consortia. You need to act now. You have my contact details below and that of my colleague, Gráinne Ryan. And thank you. And now over to Sergio for Cluster 4.
Hello, my name is Sergio Fernández-Ceballos, and I'm the National Delegation Contact Point for Cluster 4 in Horizon Europe based in Enterprise Ireland. Today, I'm going to briefly introduce Cluster 4 to you. Cluster 4 relates to the digital, industry, and space part in Horizon Europe. The overarching vision behind the proposed investments for Cluster 4 focuses on Europe shaping competitive and trusted technologies for the European industry, with global leadership in key areas, enabling production, respecting the boundaries of our planet, and maximizing the European economic and social benefits. We are still in negotiations with the European Commission trying to finalize the work program, but I would say 90% of the content is almost there. Cluster 4 is the largest of the clusters, with around 15.5 billion euro in funding. Cluster 4 is divided into 6 main destinations or subsections. 2, they relate to industry, Destination 1 and Destination 2. Destination 1, titled Climate Neutral, Circular and Digitalized Production, what it used to be the Advanced Manufacturing Program. Destination 2, also relating to industry, increased autonomy in key strategic value chains for a resilient industry, what it used to be the Advanced Materials Program. Also, 3 destinations targeting the digital part. Destination 3, a world-leading data and computing technologies. Destination 4, digital and emerging technologies for competitiveness and fit for the Green Deal. And Destination 6, a human-centered and ethical development of digital and industrial technologies. And finally, Destination 5 relates to the space part in Horizon Europe and is titled Open Strategic Autonomy in Developing, Deploying and Using Global Space-Based Infrastructures, Services and Data. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this in more detail. Destination 1 relates to the Advanced Manufacturing and Production Programs, divided into subsections, and I have selected a number of keywords that they will appear in the topics. There will be more keywords and there'll be more topics, so I advise you to check with your national contact points to explore opportunities. So this destination is broken into several sections. Green, flexible and advanced manufacturing. Some of the keywords, for example, will include some of the topics: zero defect manufacturing, 3D printing, biomaterials, sustainable production, and modular manufacturing. The digital part of the manufacturing, it relates to, for example, digital tools for supporting engineering, artificial intelligence for manufacturing. Digitalization of construction, that will be given by, for example, the BIM areas, valorization of the construction waste, and so on and so forth. Hubs for circularity and enabling circularity of resources in the process industries. Topics will include demonstrators for the better use of energy, reduction of CO2 emissions, waste industrial water, and plastic waste. Integration of renewables and electrification of process industries. For example, electrochemical conversion routes for the production of chemicals and materials. Hydrogen to replace fossil fuels. This is a very hot topic at the moment. And steel production. Destination 2, how to make industry resilient, is what we used to know as the Advanced Materials Program. It will comprise of raw materials for the EU strategic autonomy and successful transition for the circular economy, from exploration, mining, processing, and recycling topics. Green and sustainable materials, safe and sustainable by design, multifunctional materials, and coatings. Materials for the benefit of the society and the environment. They will include antiviral, antimicrobial coatings, materials for hydrogen storage, materials for health and energy applications generally. It will also include materials modeling and materials characterization and a wide range of actions for EU businesses, especially targeting SMEs and startups. Now we move on to the digital destinations. Destination 3, world-leading data and computing technologies. From data sharing in the common European data space, topics will include green and responsible data operations, data management, extreme data mining and trading. Strengthening Europe's data analytics capacity, methods for exploring data knowledge, high-end computing for exascale performance and beyond. Supercomputing technology will include hardware and software separate to, and will have a separate Euro-HPC partnership. From cloud to edge to Internet of Things for European data. Next generation computing systems and technologies, AI-enabled computing and programming tools. Destination 4 is the largest of the digital destinations. Digital and emerging technologies for the competitiveness and fit for the Green Deal. It will include ultra-low power processors, secure processors, also hardware and software, edge computing, European innovation leadership in electronics, components and systems integration, and also there is a separate key digital technologies partnership. European innovation leadership in photonics, 6G and connectivity technologies. There is a separate smart networks and services partnership as well. Innovation in AI, data and robotics from cognition, performance, intelligence and capabilities. European leadership in emerging enabling technologies. It will include nanoelectronics, spintronics, and biointelligent manufacturing. We'll also have in here in Destination 4 the topics relating to quantum and graphene from computing, simulation, and sensing. Destination 5 will relate to the space part of the program. Strategic autonomy in developing, deploying, and using global space-based infrastructures and services, applications and data, end-to-end communications, future space ecosystems, the Copernicus services, new space transportation solutions, government satellite communications, and also will include the quantum technologies areas with applications on space. Space technologies for European non-dependence and competitiveness. It will include RF, passive components, discrete power devices, exploitation of space data, strategic autonomy in developing, deploying, and using global space infrastructures, but from the point of view of the applications around the Green Deal, the safety, and the crisis management, applications for the digital age. And finally, Destination 6. This one is a joint destination between the digital and the industrial technologies. It will include leadership in AI based on trust, Internet of Trust and extended reality, and also systematic approaches to make the most of technologies within society and industry. It will include IP standardization, linkages with the arts, and also upskilling of the workforce in these sectors, targeting all the different destinations. Finally, let me introduce the team in Cluster 4. We have 4 national contact points. Stephen and Jared, they'll be looking after the digital part. Connor will be looking after the space. And myself, I'll be looking after the industry. You have our contact details on the slide. Also, just to mention in relation to events, the Commission is planning a big Cluster 4 Info Week in May, date to be confirmed. And we will do a national launch of the cluster before the summer break. The first set of deadlines are scheduled from September 2021 at the end of September, dates to be confirmed. And I'm just going to leave it there. Thank you very much. And my colleague, Bob Flynn, will continue with Cluster 5 after me.
Good morning. My name is Bob Flynn, National Delegate for Cluster 5. And along with my Enterprise Ireland colleagues, Philip Cheesty and Mark Sweeney and Kerry Sheehan at SEAI, we are the Irish National Contact Points for Cluster 5. The overarching driver for this cluster is to accelerate both the green and digital transition of Europe and the associated transformation of our economy, industry, and society with a view to achieving climate neutrality in Europe by 2050. Research and innovation will heavily influence the speed at which these transitions can take place, directly affecting the associated costs, impacts, and resulting benefits, such as better air and water quality, sustainable resource management, and reduced dependency on fossil fuels. Cluster 5 will support the EU's strategic objectives through activities included in this work programme, but also through the support of the institutional European partnerships, which will be implemented through separate dedicated structures. I will briefly return to these later on. The cluster is divided into 6 destinations. Climate science and responses, cross-sectoral solutions for the climate transition, sustainable, secure and competitive energy supply, efficient, sustainable and inclusive energy use, clean and competitive solutions for all transport modes, and safe, resilient transport and smart mobility services for passengers and goods. The first destination under Cluster 5 focuses on the area of climate science and aims to identify effective pathways and responses to address the challenges of climate change. A broad range of activities implemented under this destination will enable the transition to a climate neutral and resilient society and economy through advancing knowledge and providing effective solutions. Areas covered include better understanding of climate ecosystems interactions, climate services and climate prediction modeling, climate change adaptation, including restoration and rewilding of ecosystems and landscapes, forest management and climate action, high-resolution Earth system models and integrated assessment modeling, and finally, social science for climate action. It is also worth noting that many of the activities in this destination have synergies with and complement activities supported in Cluster 6, and this should be taken into account by potential applicants. Destination 2 will focus on cross-sectoral solutions for the climate transition. The first of these solutions will address the need for a competitive and sustainable battery value chain for Europe. Topics will cover all aspects of the battery value chain, such as raw materials, 3rd and 4th generation lithium batteries, battery management and design, battery component manufacture and processing technologies. It will also address the next generation of batteries for the transport sector, and finally, reuse and recycling. The next solution will focus on emerging breakthrough technologies covering areas such as methane cracking, direct atmospheric carbon capture, and non-CO2 greenhouse gas removal. The destination also aims to strengthen social sciences and humanities research in the climate, energy, and mobility space, cities and communities, and also examine future innovations in urban mobility. The cities and communities theme will also be explored in the upcoming mission on climate neutral and smart cities. Destination 3 will focus on the energy network and its many vectors, with its main aim being to increase the number of renewables on the system in a cost-competitive way in order to reduce fossil fuel usage. Topics are presented for research and demonstration of the various renewable technologies such as ocean, energy, wind, photovoltaics, concentrated solar power, etc. For wind energy, the focus of the destination will be on offshore development. Modernizing the electricity grid will entail more integration and aims to include various forms of energy storage, carbon capture, and high voltage DC networks to link the various offshore renewables to the grid. Topics will also target renewable fuels and innovative materials to reduce our dependency on the use of critical raw materials. Dedicated topics in this destination will also address agriculture, forestry, and industrial processing, such as in the chemical industry. All these technologies are supported by a focus on energy digitalization, new business models, and key to the Green Deal agenda, consumer engagement and participation. Destination 4 will focus on the EU building stock from residential buildings to industrial complexes, but also taking into account single buildings, neighborhoods, and industrial parks, linking with the new renovation wave strategy for buildings from the European Commission. This aims to double the annual energy renovation rates in the next 10 years. Topics will address integrated renewables, recycling of materials, demand response, and innovation in heating and cooling techniques in order to accelerate the move towards energy positive homes. A key partnership for this destination is Build for People, which focuses on a people-centric sustainable built environment, which aims to create research and innovation pathways based on a holistic view of the built environment for sustainability and better living. Something to also note is that in the forthcoming LIFE program for 2021 to 2024, it will contain a clean energy transition strand that will cover market update topics that were previously part of the Horizon 2020 work program in energy efficiency. Destination 5 will address clean and competitive solutions for all transport modes. For road transport, topics will address next generation vehicles and electric vehicle components, as well as smart charging as part of the new 2.0 partnership. For aviation, topics will focus on next generation design, manufacture, and maintenance, as well as new business models and services. Aviation will also be addressed through the Clean Aviation Institutional Partnership, the successor to the Clean Sky program under Horizon 2020. The final area to be covered under this destination will be the move to zero-emission waterborne transport. Topics will cover areas such as onboard energy saving and storage systems, battery charging systems, fuel cell integration, and solutions for the use of renewable energy for shipping. All rail-related research will be carried out through the Transforming European Rail Partnership. Destination 6, titled Safe, Resilient Transport and Smart Mobility Services for Passengers and Goods, will address 3 areas. The first of these will focus on connected, cooperative, and automated mobility, or CCAM, and will examine areas such as onboard perception and decision-making technologies, the required physical and digital infrastructure to implement CCAM, safety, cybersecurity, occupant safety, and artificial intelligence. The second area will look at new delivery methods and business models for last mile delivery. And finally, the third area will explore safety and resilience across all transport modes, focusing on HMI, vehicle testing, and the very topical infection control on passenger ships. European partnerships bring the European Commission and private and/or public partners together to address some of Europe's most pressing challenges through concerted research and innovation initiatives. They also help to avoid the duplication of investments and contribute to reducing the fragmentation of the research and innovation landscape across the EU. For Cluster 5, the institutional partnerships will address the areas of clean aviation, rail transport, air traffic management, and clean hydrogen. More information on these 4 partnerships will be available later in the year. Finally, please see here the contact details for the National Contact Point team for Cluster 5. Upcoming events include a European Commission Information Day for Cluster 5 in May, and following the Commission event, we also plan to hold an online National Cluster 5 webinar with a date yet to be confirmed. The European Commission has published a pre-draft of the Cluster Work Programme, which is available for download at the displayed link. If you would like any further information on any of the areas discussed today under Cluster 5, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for listening. Now over to Matthew for Cluster 6.
Hi everybody, my name is Matthew Clark. I'm from the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Cluster 6 part of Horizon Europe. So the title for this cluster is Food, Bioeconomy, Natural Resources, Agriculture and Environment. For those of you that were familiar with Horizon 2020, it's very similar to Societal Challenge 2 of that. But in Societal Challenge 2 in Horizon 2020, we already had food, bioeconomy, natural resources, and agriculture. So this one here has the inclusion of the environmental research in it. So that's one of the main differences between Horizon Europe and Horizon 2020 as far as this cluster is concerned. I'll move on now. So within Cluster 6, there are 7 destinations. I'd just like to say as well that I'm presenting here on behalf of Fiona Grant in the Marine Institute and Mark Sweeney in Enterprise Ireland. Fiona is the NCP for everything to do with marine, fisheries, aquaculture, that side of things. And Mark is the NCP for environmental research. Also, my colleague Patrick Barrett will be helping me on the bioeconomy side of things. So I'm not sure if you can read the slide there, but Fiona's email is fiona.grant@marine.ie and Mark's email is marksweeney@enterprise-ireland.com, and I'm matthew.clark@agriculture.gov.ie. So I'll just give you a brief introduction to the 7 destinations that are in this cluster. Biodiversity and ecosystem services. This is all to do with reducing biodiversity loss and getting Europe and the biodiversity in Europe back on a pathway to recovery. The fair, healthy and environmentally friendly food systems from primary production to consumption is all about sustainable farming and fisheries. It's everything that was in the Farm to Fork strategy, and it's to do with transforming food systems and Europe becoming a global leader in sustainable food systems. The circular economy and bioeconomy sector is all about bio-based systems, sustainable forestry, aquaculture value chains, and small-scale bio-based solutions. Clean environment and zero pollution. As we know, pollution is very harmful to human beings. So this is all about halting pollution and preventing it going forward. It would also help halt climate change and regenerate biodiversity, including marine, water, soil, air, etc. The Land, Oceans and Water for Climate Action destination is to do with conservation and enhancement of Earth's carbon sinks that are in soil, plants, farmlands, wetlands, and the oceans. The resilient, inclusive, healthy, and green rural and coastal and urban communities, bit of a mouthful, but it's all about the people that live in these areas. You know, a lot of people who are living in these rural areas are involved in the protection and management of Earth's natural resources. So this destination is all about ensuring that they have a nice, comfortable place to live and a good quality of life in these areas. We cannot let these areas become depopulated. Number 7 then, innovative governance, environmental observation and green and digital solutions in support of the Green Deal. So the Green Deal, as we know, is a major transformation in how Europe is going to go about its business between now and 2050. And in doing that, we need new systems of governance. And this will be a method of trialing out new systems of governance in support of the Green Deal. Unfortunately, the work program for the next 2 years in this cluster is quite long. It's 550-page documents, but I'll give you a short overview of the topics that are available and how many topics are available now. So in 2021, we have 102 topics opening this year. And the opening date for these is the 15th of April. So that's less than a month away now. The closing date then is the 1st of September. You'll see on the slide, I have an asterisk beside that. These dates at the moment, these are draft dates, but they're based on the latest work program that I have of recording this for you. So just be careful and check that those dates don't close when the final work program is produced. So just to explain the table there in a little bit more detail, we can see that in the first destination there on biodiversity, there will be 22 topics open for applications later this year. The budget for those 22 topics is almost 215 million euros, which is quite a sizable amount of money. The range in the budgets for the different topics there go from €500,000 up to 20 million euros, so, and everything in between. The €500,000 is probably for a coordination and support action. And the number of projects that will be funded is in the region of 35 projects. So you can use the same logic there for the rest of the destinations there to see what's involved. And in total, this year there will be 102 topics open in April with a closing date, as I said, of the 1st of September. The budget for those is almost €1 billion, so it's a huge budget. There should be something for everyone in it. And the number of total projects that will be funded is 173. If there's anything in the 7 destinations that I described previously that was of interest to you, there really should be a project here for you in this. So I would advise you all to have a look at the final work program when I circulate it, and please get in touch with me if there's something of interest to you. I'll show you then the topics that are available in 2022, closing next year. You will see here that the closing date, I'll start at the opening and closing dates. The opening date is the 28th of October 2021. So that's just about 2 months after the 2021 topics close. So it's going to be a very busy period for those of you out there that are interested in this area. The closing date is the 15th of February 2022. So by this time next year, or I should say in the next 11 months, in total we will have 183 topics opened and closed with a budget of over 1.8 billion euros. So as I said, there should be something for everyone there. Huge number of topics, huge budget available, and lots of projects being funded, 337 or thereabouts, but all coming at you within a very short period of time. Now, there are also, as you know, missions coming along in Horizon Europe. There are 5 missions in total. 4 of these actually have their centre in this cluster 6. There's a separate work programme being developed for those at the moment, but it only talks about 2021 at the moment. The 2022 aspect of this will be added to in time. There will be 1 or 2 topics per mission, and they have an opening date of the 12th of May this year and a closing date of the 9th of September. So similar to the other topics that I talked about there. The Soil Health and Food Mission has a target of achieving 75% of Europe's soils in a healthy state by 2030. The Climate Neutral and Smart Cities Mission has an aim of having 100 climate neutral cities in Europe by the year 2030. Actually, all of these have a target of 2030. The Healthy Oceans Mission, which is also known as Starfish, aims to clean marine and freshwater areas, to restore ecosystems and habitats and decarbonize the blue economy. And the last mission that is centered here is the adaptation to climate change, including societal transformation. And the idea here is to have Europe prepared to deal with climate change and begin a transition towards a healthy and prosperous future while living within the planetary boundaries. I'll just show you very quickly the topics that are in the draft work program for the missions. Most of them are coordination and support actions with a budget in and around 5 million euros. I see that the topic for the soil mission is actually down as a research and innovation action at the moment, but that may change to a coordination and support action. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is the bottom topic there, the supporting the deployment of lighthouse demonstrators for the new European Bauhaus initiative. It has a budget of 25 million euros and will fund 5 projects at a cost of 5 million each. So that might be an interesting one there for people to look at, because the more topics really that are being, or the more projects that are being funded, the better chance I suppose you have of being successful. So please keep an eye on that one as well when the final work program comes out for the missions. Nextly, I'll talk to you about the 8 partnerships that are in Cluster 6. I have them listed there roughly in order of their opening dates. As you will see, the first 3 are opening this year. The European Partnership for Rescuing Biodiversity to Safeguard Life on Earth. It's, one of its aims is to improve monitoring of biodiversity, to make a business case for it, to produce actionable knowledge and science-based decision-making for rescuing biodiversity. The Partnership on Water Security for the Planet, also known as Water for All, is aiming to achieve sustainable water systems for a sustainable Europe. The Circular Bio-Based Joint Undertaking, or CBE-JU, as it will be known, is taking over from what the existing BBI-JU. For those of you that are involved in the bioeconomy side of things, my colleague Patrick Barrett deals with that. And that is plans to have its first call open either late 2021 or early 2022, and there will be industry funding involved in that as well. The Partnership on Climate Neutral, Sustainable and Productive Blue Economy will have a call opening in 2022. And the last 4 there won't have a work program, won't be included in the work program for 21 or 22, but it will be included in the following one for 2023 and 24. And they are Partnerships for Safe and Sustainable Food Systems, Agroecology Living Labs, European Partnership for Animal Health and Welfare, and the Agriculture of Data. I know I'm flying through this pretty quickly, but I am stuck for time, so apologies for that. Just some upcoming dates to note. There is a marine brokerage event on the 28th of April. That's in conjunction with Marine Institute, EEN and Enterprise Ireland, and you can find the link for it there. And also there is a European Research and Innovation Days happening on the 23rd and 4th of June, and I recommend people to tune into that. Apologies for going through everything so quickly, but thank you very much for your time, and I'll pass you back now to Garrett, as I believe I've been the last speaker in this area. Thanks very much. Goodbye.